ब्रह्मचर्यव्रती दंडी सर्ववेदांत पंडित श्रीमद्विवेकयोगी मां प्रचोदयतु सर्वदा। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. Namaste to all of you. Thank you for summing up so nicely, Smita. Today we are entering the Bhakti Yoga, chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga. Now, Sri Krishna has a way of keeping Arjuna's enthusiasm alive and kicking. So, towards the last part of Vishwarupa Darshana, he just put there something for Arjuna to catch up. Arjuna wanted to keep this view, this magnificent view of the universal form ever and ever in his mind, so that he can, whenever he wants, he can meditate on it, or he can make use of that awareness for his day-to-day life. So Krishna said in that one, look, this ordinarily you cannot hold on to this view of mine. Bhaktya tvananyaya, he tells Arjuna, there is only one way, and that too through bhakti. Naham vedair na tapasa. Na danena na chejya shakya evam vidham drishto drishtam drishtavanasi matha. The way you have seen me is an almost impossible vision for anybody. But still, bhaktya-tvananyaya shakya aham evam vidhurjuna nyadam drishtam cha tatvena praveshtam cha parandava. But still, Arjuna, I won't say it is totally impossible. It is possible through Ananya Bhakti. So Arjuna caught up with that. What is that Ananya Bhakti? Krishna, tell me more about it. But for us now, our problem is not Arjuna's problem. Our problem is how to incorporate these wonderful observations of Sri Krishna about his macro, universal, cosmic family into our micro units of our family, where our interrelationship, interconnectedness and interdependence, they are in peril these days. We don't know how to keep up the parasparya. So we are looking for those drops of Amritha through which we can rectify the mistakes in our family. So that is our idea of studying Gita from this perspective. What can bhakti contribute to this sort of a Amrit Parivar development? So we have to enter into Krishna's presence only through Arjuna. Arjuna, the war friend, standing in front of Sri Krishna, having dropped his Gandiva, etc., in a very, very, very humble form with full of humility. And especially after the Vishwarupa Darshana, he could not describe his feelings at all. He felt very unhappy that I had been considering Krishna as a friend and calling him all sorts of names and this. So he should forgive me now. So all sorts of feelings were there of love and affection and adoration and respect and bhakti. Everything was there. Now Krishna tells him, Bhaktya tvananyaya. You have to develop bhakti. So Arjuna takes up that thread and he asks the Krishna, what is his ananya bhakti? This bhakti, which is not in any way contaminated with any selfish motivation or kamana, what is that bhakti? I must know from your own. You are the only person who will be able to tell us fully the perfect definition of this bhakti and how we can manage the show. So Krishna tells me, I know we have to do so much of upasanas, ritualistic part of bhakti, of propitiating you, all that we know. Now, I have also one doubt, not only what is Ananya Bhakti, and even among the bhaktas, who would you like? Those who worship God with form, sakara, or God without form, nirakara. Which could be the best way? You tell me that also, so that I can pursue whichever is suitable for me. But one thing is certain, I must see you all the time. I want to hold on to this wonderful vision of yours. So please tell me, I'm going to be your bhakta now, but tell me clearly which would be the way ideal for me. So in answer to Arjuna's queries, Sri Krishna started unfolding the ideas concerning the upasanas, concerning the various steps involved in the upasanas and the problems the devotee may confront during the upasana, all that he describes. Then he says, Arjuna, whatever be the path, whether you are Sakara Upasaka or Nirakara Upasaka, one thing is certain. 3 things you must have. What are the 3 things? Oh, first and foremost, Shraddha. I see. Faith in the words of the Master, faith to absorb it as your inspiration and act accordingly. That's Shraddha. It's a very, very important. We have discussed about it already. Nachiketa's Shraddha, etc. So this Shraddha you must have first and foremost. And then Ekagrata. When you start thinking of me, let all the other thoughts disappear from your mind. Your mind becomes one-pointed. It just is fixed on me and on nothing else. This sort of ekagrata also is very much needed. And one more thing I'll tell you, Arjuna, tanmayata. When you think of me, you should be able to dissolve in me. Like Sri Ramakrishna said, the salt down, putting it into the water, it dissolves. In the same way, the minute you think of me, what happens? You cease to be an individual. Tanmayata, getting completely, when we listen to some extraordinary musical performance or something, there are moments when we forget ourselves. So that's sort of a sanmada. We forget our body, mind, intellect, everything, and we just get absorbed in the object of our adoration. So that's sort of these 3 things are necessary, whether you are doing sakara or nirakara. Then another thing is, when you are going to take me as a nirakara rupa, then nirakara brahma, then remember, there are sense objects. Your mind is always moving towards sense objects. And sense objects have their own way of entering into our mind. So this 2-way traffic, fortunately it is not a 4-lane traffic, 6-lane traffic. This 2-way traffic, your mind going to the sense objects and the sense objects tempting you with their charming dispositions and attracting you, both have to stop. You must have absolute control over your mind's vagaries. Then, what more, Krishna? Then, the dvantas, the dualities, the sukha dukkha, ninda stuti, etc., etc. You must be samabuddhi. You should not become agitated this way or that way. Sukha may come, dukkha may come. Ninda you will get, another day you may get stuti. One day you will be rich, another day you may be poor. But your mind should be absolutely at equilibrium. You should not in any way affected by this. And after developing this capacity to control your mind, what more is needed? After you have seen my Vishwarupa, what is the quality I expect from you? Sarva bhuta hite rataha. Now in your mind, there is no differentiation at all. You are equally disposed towards everything, whether it is a man or animal or a tree. Imagine the whole universe. You must be able to hold on to that oneness. So that is very, very particular. Sarvabhuta hiterata. But then, in spite of all this, I tell you, Arjuna, it is very difficult for the mind to conceive of avyakta, nirakara, because our mind always goes after the gunas, the qualities of our object of adoration. So I tell you, I warn you, the avyakta, where there are no qualities, will be very difficult. So better we will start from worshipping what is easily available for our mind to concentrate upon. That would be the ideal. Then for that, remember the whole Jagat, now you know, the whole Jagat is permeated by the divine self. And the devotee should develop the capacity to sense the divine in everywhere and everything. Isha vasyamidam sarvam. Everything is permeated by that divine. And that sort of a feeling, total surrender, will help you to see me in all beings. And slowly, that should be your mental mind's content, that everything is permeated by the Lord Almighty. And when slowly, the mind gets absolutely purified, you know, Arjuna, what will happen? That person will become my nimitta, a conduit through which I will pour my divine grace. I will pour my divine power and grace in all and her actions. Such a person you can immediately detect, because when you go near such a person, there is such a warmth of this full understanding and an affection, that oneness which you feel, so that a person will have these wonderful qualities. And all the time, remember, realization of the ultimate truth is the aim of any bhakta, sakara or nikara. But unfortunately, what happens is, we have not been told of any particular inclinations that you should do this, do, you have to worship, nothing. And we don't have any goal or realization. I think when Swami Vivekananda came and put before us the goal in life is to manifest that divinity by controlling nature and external and internal, then only a very, very sukshma bhava of a goal went into our mind. Otherwise, for us, education, a good job, working, earning money, then getting married and settled down, that is all we had. All the unwanted materialistic desires, actions, everything was desire-oriented. You have to withdraw your mind from that to develop this Ananya Yoga or Ananya Bhakti. Arjuna, I have been giving you so many ATM cards. You have kept them safe, no? Here I will give you one more ATM card. Such a person, I will deliver him from the dungeons of death. See, mortal, immortal. So, such mortals who are totally surrendered to me, to them I give this. I pull them out of the dungeon of death. Death means mortality, all sorts of unhappiness, everything comes into that. So from Mrita to Amrita, from the ephemeral to the eternal, I give him my hand and pull him into that. Then Sri Krishna goes on to say, now you wanted to be a bhakta, so I will tell you what are the steps leading to bhakti. But if as a materialistic person, you think you cannot immediately go to the highest point, I tell you, we'll start from the very beginning. So Krishna tells, Abhyasa Yoga. Do some abhyasas. You want to be a yogi, every day you do yoga. If you want to be a musician, every day you do the abhyasa. If you want to be a dancer, every day you have to do the abhyasa. In the same way, start with this abhyasa. Whenever you get time, you think of me, you sing my song, my praises, and you contemplate on me. So through that abhyasa, develop this inclination to get into bhakti. You won't get bhakti so soon. So by practicing, it becomes your practice. Early morning, before thinking everything, we think of the God. Evening sandhya, we will think of God. Those 2 times we are keeping apart. It's an abhyasa. First, it may look material, look mechanical. But after some time, we will find it is impossible for you to sleep after 4 o'clock because that abhyasa has entered into you as your character. Similarly, in the evening time, it will never tempt us to go and sit in front of a tea and watch a serial. This is the time to think of God. So, abhyasa will bring you the benefit. Oh. But sometimes, Krishna, I will be doing something or other. I may not be able to devote my time. Then what do we do? Some people may come and ask me, Arjuna, I want to be a bhakta. Abhyasa and all, it is not possible for me. Then Krishna points out to several doors. This door, you can enter this door. So what are the doors? We will see. He says, Mat karma paramo bhava. So as a bhakta, you can do one thing. You don't know how to do abhyasas or singing or something. Okay. But you can do things in my name. When the Girish goes to Sri Ramakrishna and complains, he cannot stop drinking. Sri Ramakrishna says, give me your power of attorney. Whatever you do it as my work. So he started taking the drink in the hand, and then he found Sri Ramakrishna's face in that, threw it away, took another bottle. So finally, he could not drink at all. He dropped that drinking habit. So in the same way, mat karma paramo bhava. You do the things which I like. And you know what are the things I like? Serve man, serve God. Try to help everybody. Whoever comes to you, they will not go back disappointed. In whichever way you can, you help them to come nearer me. Oh, but that is difficult, Krishna. Sarva karma paramo bhava. All the time we will forget. Sometimes I will be engaged in some mechanical work or money earning work. To think of you, to do your work. All right, then I will tell you another thing. What is that? Sarva karma bhalatyaga. Can't you do that? You do your work, but never hanker upon the result of the work. Leave the result to me. Forget about the result. But do the work. Give up desires for the fruits of action. Then you will find, again, your mind will get purified. When slowly this hankering after the kartrutva, bhoktrutva bhava slowly dissolves in our mind, then we will find our mind is purified. We are able to concentrate on this. At that point, Sri Krishna says, Jnana, Karma, Bhakti. Actually, they are not different from each other. They are really one and the same, provided you know the essence of each. Jnana also takes you to that point of ultimate realization. Bhakti also should lead you to that. Karma also, when you are becoming a karma yogi, slowly it elevates you and takes you to that. And this sort of a harmonizing jnana bhakti karma, it is very rare to find in the other non-Indian philosophical approaches to God realization. So all this should be reflected in the behavior or the character of the bhakta. He should have sufficient knowledge. He should have bhakti, emotional and karma. So don't give up karma and say, I am a bhakta. Don't give up jnana, studies and say, I am a bhakta, I don't want to. That should not be. Jnana and karma and bhakti should be harmoniously blended. If you want to make a good sweet, you have to mix it together with nice things. In the same way, in your character, everything should be there. But everything with a natural, godly inclination in it. That is how you will have to. Slowly, you will find your mind start getting elevated. Your awareness becomes more and more enhanced. And you start moving. That awareness comes. The whole universe is filled, but with the divine power only. Then Krishna also gives the characteristics of a bhakta. Arjuna, I will tell you, when you go into the world, you will meet all sorts of people, some of them may be my bhakta, some may not be. How to find out who is my bhakta? How do I categorize them? So he gives to 7 slokas the beautiful characteristics of his bhakta, and it started with Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam. Earlier we saw Sarva Bhuta Hiterataha. So here uses that is very, very important for Sri Krishna. Sarva Adveshta Sarva Bhutana. Everything in the universe is permeated by me, and you should be able to absorb that truth. And when you absorb that truth, Dvesha will automatically drop away from you. So you have to be Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam. And what will happen then? It will be when Dvesha goes, Maitri will come, friendliness will come, understanding will come. So Maitri, Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam, Maitra. Oh, Maitri also is part. If you remember, I was quoting Kapila Vasudeva, and he also said, Maitriya Abhinna Chakshusha, with no Bheda Bhava, no differentiation. It will be permeated by this friendliness, Maitri Bhava, friendliness towards all. A bhakta cannot have enemies at all. Prahlada, his father was hurting and humiliating him like anything, but he was not at all angry about it. He took it as Bhagavan's prasad. So in that way, we should not hold any enemy bhava towards anybody, but only friendliness. And when these two get combined, it gives rise to another beautiful feeling, karunya. Maitra karunayevacha. So your mind will be filled with karunya, a very deep understanding. You feel like helping that person. You want to see in what way I can alleviate his sufferings, in what way I can add to his comfort. So all the various aspects of karunya will start filling up in his mind, and slowly it will elevate him to develop nirahankara, nirmamatva or mamatva bhava, I, mine, all that will go, and ego also will disappear from him. So remember, we can take a stock of our own bhakti, where we stand. So when we hear all this, we start wondering, what has bhakti got to do our Amrita parivar? Huh? Yes, because bhakti smoothens the rough edges of the character. We are all so rough. Huh? Why the roughness is due to I, my, mine, these rough, sharp edges that keep us away from beautiful human relationships. That will slowly be smoothened. So, bhakti smoothens. It removes because you are all the time seeing yourself as a nimitta in the hands of the Lord. So I minus etc. will go. So it polishes the individual and automatically kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, they will all take a different form. As Sri Ramakrishna says, kama, not for the material things, kama to get to God. Krodha, not because you did something to me and I get angry. No, krodha is towards myself. Why on earth I am not able to control my mind? I must be able to control the mind. You be angry with your own mind and take the mind towards God. So in that way, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, everything can be God. We can give it a covering of God. Or we can put godliness inside each one of them and transform their very nature. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya becomes our friends. They are not anymore our enemies. They are taking us nearer and nearer to our beloved God, whether it is Nirakara or Sakarya, whatever it is. And then we have to incorporate in our day-to-day routine. We can slowly, as I mentioned earlier, the sandhyas are the best time to keep thinking of God. So slowly, some such practices will help us to smoothen ourselves further. Take our mind. As I said, I was so much addicted to seeing the serials of cinema. Now I can't think of it at all. Sandhya comes. 6, I must light the lamp. I must start my bhajan session. I must do my meditations. I must chant by Vishnu Sahasranama. So in that way, that we will slowly refine ourselves into a better human being. A bhakta is definitely a better human being. And just like in human lives, man and woman gets attracted through love, the same way, the bhakta gets joined with the Ishtadevata, Krishna or Shiva or Devi, whatever may be, whoever may be our Ishtadevata, we develop a special relationship. We don't know why. I'm absolutely certain Sri Krishna is with me. He will see to it that no danger comes to me. So this sort of a closeness will come in our bhakti relationship. At this time, very often I feel we have to learn something from the other traditions as well. In Christianity or in Islam, the people of the household family sit together and pray together or read holy scriptures together. But unfortunately, we speak so much about knowledge, life, action, everything. We are not able to bring all our family members together into this circle of God's grace because we have not taken any initiative, maybe, or our bhakti is not so very pure. So from childhood, if we develop in them, no, now, Sandhya, come on, sit. But we were all children, it was compulsory. We have to sit and pray. But now that is not. Children may be sometimes going for tuition or having some online classes or engaged somewhere, we are not able to control them. So in Christian and Islamic households, we find there is still, they pray together, they pray for each other, they pray for a sick person, they enjoy the happiness of the other person. So in that way, they are able to pass on from generation to generations these bhakti prompted life activities. I think we have to go a long way to catch up in our Hindu households. And in a household, suppose we are able to inculcate this bhakti, there is a speciality about that household. You enter that household, immediately you feel a different vibration. The people there are so very concerned about you, so very hospitable, and such humility in them. They won't leave you without taking food. They will share with you whatever they have. A sort of different atmosphere. So, bhakti, if it is there in a house, we find a character transformation. And this aspect of bhakti is very, very important. Character building exercise. Bhakti could become a character building exercise. We have seen karma yoga should become a character building. So bhakti at the emotional level, at your mental level, can easily become a character building ingredient. And we can remember Swamiji's words, Atmano mokshartam jagat hitaya cha. Whatever they do, they will say, am I expanding? Am I better today? Was I able to help more people? Could I share more of my wealth with others? So, Atmano mokshartam jagat hitaya cha. So, by incorporating certain acharas, anushthanas, etc. into our home, we can change the atmosphere of our home. In an Amrit parivar, we have to have a beautiful atmosphere, an atmosphere where vibrations are not at the lowest material level, but at something. In this connection, I always remember when I was on a tour to South Africa, I stayed in Ramakrishna Ashram there, used to visit many of the houses there. And they were all so much attached to ashram. Whenever we get into a house, first thing we see is the Lord and Master of this house is Sri Ramakrishna. It used to be so thrilling an experience it was. Then they will not ask you first to take us to the drawing room and sit there and you'll say, please come to our shrine. They will take us straight to the shrine. Then they will say, let us together light a lamp or light an agarbatti and meditate on God for 1 or 2 minutes. Oh, it was a beautiful custom. How that Swamiji had transformed thousands of Hindus into this sort of it. Because when I went there, apartheid was in full form. People were afraid of each other, moving out, they were afraid. Everywhere dangers were hiding behind every bush. Even if the car stops, we never travel with the glasses down. It is not possible at all. So even at the traffic signal, we have to sit with the glass on because we don't know. Somebody may just put their hand and take your bag out. That sort of an atmosphere it was there. But even there, he had inculcated into them this beautiful strength of Shakti of Bhakti. They were a transformed lot. Those who were attached to the mutt, they were definitely a transformed lot. Some of them were big engineers, professors, but when they come to Swamiji, they were like little children, pussycats sitting around him. and listening to him. And they will do exactly what he says. He will say, put this board there. Name of the house will be like this. Your child's name will be there. Every such and such a day you should come here. Teach your child such and such bhajans, such and such meditation. It was such a beautiful molding of a society through bhakti, faith, and jnana. It was very, very elevating an experience. So, like that, we have to transform the dying into the undying. And in this connection, as I said, what has all this got to do with our Amritha? That is very important. And this morning, I suddenly got some inspiration. See, Krishna enumerates several qualities for his bhaktas. So we can take it, it is a double way. If you are a bhakta, you develop such and such qualities. Or, as we said, abhyasena, developing such and such qualities, automatically your mind will turn towards godliness. So it is a double action. So he enumerates, we have no time to go through all those enumerations, but that is what happens when the bhakta decides to be a bhakta in the true sense. His swabhava will change, his character will change, his awareness will change, his understanding will change, his vision of the whole will change, and he will get transformed. So that is the important aspect of bhakti. It will smoothen our life, all the different edges. I used to, when I go to Vivekananda Rock Memorial, I always used to wonder, such rough granite with sharp edges, they are brought there, and by grinding, they become so shiny as a marble. So this marble shyness was inside them, but through human effort, they were brought out. Similarly, bhakti will help us to smoothen our edges. Now, this Sri Krishna's macro family's characteristics, we will try to absorb into our micro family. We will do a small trick. Just imagine Sri Krishna is our great grand uncle. He has a lot of properties. He says one day, now I want to divide my wealth among all of you. So come on, let me see. All the family members are very eager. They are all sitting around him. And, oh, maybe he will give me that. He will give me that. All of them are very, very eager to get what each one is going to get. So at that time, he says, now you will decide for yourself, of course, but before that, I will tell you why this person is dear to me. You may be thinking, I am partial to this person. Now you listen. And why this daughter or this son or this nephew is dear to me. I will tell you that. So saying that, Krishna says, santushta satatam yogi yatatma dhritanishchaya mayyarpita mano buddhi yo mad bhakta same priya. Now, why I am so partial to this child of mine? Because mayyarpita mano buddhi, he is always with a samarpana bhava, he comes to me. So he is very dear to me. The uncle is telling. Then he says, Yasma no dvijade loko, lokal no dvijade chayaha, harsha amasha bhayoddvegai mukto yas sachamem priya. This particular nephew, he is dear to me. You must be thinking I am partial to him. It is not that. Because you listen, some of you, when you enter the house, you bring with you so much of fear, so much of doubt, so much of ill feeling, and the whole house gets disturbed. And similarly, when you go out into the world, you carry all these negative feelings and the world gets disturbed. But there are a few, when they come and enter into the house, they bring with them lot of ill will. So you know why I am partial. I am not going to tell you to whom I am going to give my property or anything. I just want to tell you who are dear to me, who are dearer to me. Anapeksha sujardaksha udasino gatavyatha sarvarambha parityami yo madbhakta same priyaha. No, it's so beautiful. And so our great uncle is telling me, you are dear to me because of these qualities. So develop them. We will come. I will shower on you all my wealth and this thing. It is very interesting. You must read those last few stanzas of Bhakti Yoga. Then he says, Yona Krishyadi na dveshti, na shochadi na kamshadi, shubha shubha parityagi, bhaktiman ya same priya. You know, that particular child, he is so dear to me. He never finds fault with anybody. He finds fault with himself and corrects himself. So he is sama sugha dukkha kshami. So that is why he is dear to me. You know why this particular person is dear to me? Samas shatrau cha mitre cha tadha manapamanayoh sidoshna sugadukkeshu samas sangha vivarjita tulya nindastu dirmauni santushto yena kenachit aniketa stiramati bhaktiman me priyone. This child, have you watched him? He's so equipoised, samachittatvam. That is why he is so dear to me. So, the great uncle has told us, our great grandfather, Pitahamasya Jagato, Pitamaha, in the 10th chapter. So the Pitamaha is telling us what we have to do to become dear to him. He doesn't tell us to do this or that. It is left to us. If you want to inherit the blessings of the Lord, you have to fall into his ring of affection and understanding. So, bhakti can smoothen the rough edges of the members in a family. Bhakti can add humility and egoless behavior in the people, lot of karunya. It will remove all the unwanted blaming, all that will be removed. And there is nothing like bhakti to improve our health, wealth, prosperity. So Bhakti Yoga is an Amritha, which we should read, and keeping ourselves as the center, try to make ourselves dear to Krishna. Krishna says, Same Priya, So what we can do to make ourselves dear to Sri Krishna. And once you become dear to Sri Krishna, Yoga Kshemam Mahamyam, he has told already. So that is what Bhakti Yoga teaches us. How to smoothen ourselves and remove the material kalmashas from our mind and become a nimitta in his hands. That is Bhakti, a very beautiful chapter.
About relating ourselves to somebody whom we love. How is that? You said that it's our great grandfather. Now, most of us, or all of us, we love our grandparents. That is because they are totally uncritical on the children. That's why the parents say that if the children go too much to grandparents, it says, you'll spoil them. So in a way, Krishna happens to be our great-great-grandfather. And today we saw in the Bhakti, his compassion, the amount of understanding and compassion he has towards us is that if you are not able to do this, then you do this. If you are not able to do this, then you do something else. If you do not have, I mean, he's given so much difference. And in the last 7 shlokas, he gives us the qualities which will take us nearer to him. That was wonderful. And Sri Ramakrishna, you have quoted, and in fact, all of us love him, Sri Ramakrishna, because Krishna, we may not feel him, but Sri Ramakrishna has been a historical figure, and we have seen him through and through his gospel and all that. So what he says is that the wind of grace of God is always blowing. Unfortunately, our sails are not open. And what is it that is stopping us from opening the sail? Our limitations, like I and mine, that is, I do it, ahankara and all that. Suppose you drop them, then automatically sail goes up. And once the sail goes up, the boat will be taken by Krishna to wherever he wants, because you have totally given all your thoughts, all your wishes, everything to him. You have surrendered to him. Perhaps the message of surrender is very, very valuable for bhakti. And thank you, Didi. Thank you so much.